Hello and welcome to today's Lunch and Learn. Today, Andrew Goladia, hope I got that right, joins us to showcase Deer Systems Inventory Management. Let me just tell you briefly about Deer Systems, the inventory management solution. As an ecosystem staff pick app, Deer is the #1 alternative to Tradegecko. Deer enables you and your team to manage all products, customers, suppliers, contacts, purchases, and sales in one easy-to-use system. It provides an all-in-one platform to help manage growing businesses in retail, wholesale, and e-commerce. Take control of your entire operation through a centralized order and inventory management, integrated point of sale, mobile warehouse management, and out-of-the-box integration to leading marketplaces, shipping services, and accounting applications. So handing over to you, Andrew, if you can briefly introduce yourself and take away with the presentation, that would be sensational.
Thank you, Heather. My name is Andrew. I'm partner manager at Deer Systems, and my role is a little bit dynamic, but most of my role is focused on working with accountants, bookkeepers, and digital advisors, trying to help them find a solution for their clients and just general education. So that's the majority of my role. And in today's presentation, I'll be going through most of kind of what problems Deer solves, who is it right for, and just a little bit, I have some stats just to try to spice things up a little bit. So just stats about inventory businesses that we've kind of gathered over the years. So what I'll do is
I see inventory stats. We like that.
So I'll go ahead and share my screen. So hopefully everyone should be able to see the presentation screen shortly. And I think we're up and live. So if anyone can't see it, please just let us know in the chat box. So I'll start off a little bit about Deer and who we are. So we started out in 2012 out of Sydney, Australia, with 3 partners, so 2 technical and 1 on the business side. And then we had a pretty crazy growth straight away. So we had 1,000 users by pretty much our 18 months in. And then by 2015, we had a few offices around the world. So one in the US, Dubai to manage the EMEA region, and then the Philippines. And we still had the Sydney, Australia office as a headquarters. And in 2021, we've had a lot of growth and we had some exciting news. So one, that we had live subscriptions in over 75 countries, released our MRP module, which is our advanced manufacturing module and features for more complex manufacturing, and pretty market leading from that perspective. And then we also joined forces with Sin7 to continue providing market leading solutions. So Sin7 is another inventory management app in the Xero ecosystem. And we've kind of come together with Sin7 and another app called OrderHive as one company, 3 separate app offerings. So really just trying to be able to provide a solution at all different levels. But today I'll be focusing on Deer as a standalone app. I guess a few questions around here that usually comes up is, are you guys going to how are you guys going to collaborate? Are you going to joint, integrate? At the moment, we are purely going to be running as business as usual. So we'll be continue to provide modern product sellers with an inventory app and under the brand of Deer. So Deer team will remain the same, support, development, everything will remain the same, and we'll continue going forward with that. These are just some of the brands that we worked with over the years. So some noticeable brands there are household brands, but we worked with all these different types of brands and many more over the years, which brings us to the type of businesses we help. So we help with wholesale businesses, so people doing buying bulk and selling goods directly to consumers or to retail stores or what it may be. E-commerce businesses, so these are primarily online businesses. Retail businesses, and usually retail, we tend to think of your boutique stores. So anywhere between 2, 6, 10 stores will be considered someone that will be suitable for Deer. We also handle light manufacturing, and really should be just changing that to manufacturing. So we deal with all types of everything from bundling and kitting, so anything that has a bill of materials and a recipe, so food manufacturers, chemical manufacturers, cosmetics manufacturers, all the way up to quite complex manufacturing. So whether it's manufacturing specific timber veneers, and that goes through a manufacturing process, furniture, and so forth. So we can handle that all within Deer at the moment. And what we find is that more and more businesses are becoming a hybrid supply chain type businesses. So meaning that they are, because of technology, it's enabled them to be able to access a lot of variety of different sales channels, different variety of ability to source their products and who they manufacture and where they sell. So whether they have a wholesale requirement, so we have a B2B portal, whether they do retail, whether they have point of sales, e-commerce, or they have used Shopify, WooCommerce, Magento, BigCommerce, marketplaces such as Amazon, eBay, Etsy, or they still take phone and email orders, all that gets aggregated into one central location. So Dia connects to all those different channels, is able to pull in the relevant sales information and capture those order information into Dia. From there, we can manage the entire warehousing, so pick, pack, and ship. So even if they have external warehousing, they use something like a 3PL, we'll be able to manage that, and obviously that goes to the customer. And from here, once the order is captured, Dia is able to account for the stock and the cost of goods as well. One, push all the relevant stock quantities back to all the sales channels, and also be able to push the invoice and the cost of goods into the accounting. Now, Dia does first in, first out costing. We handle batch numbers, serial numbers, expiry dates with that. And once you kind of run low on stock, you can trigger purchase orders from this system. So we can manage things like lead times, safety days, reorder quantities, minimum before reorder points. Or if they need to be manufactured, they can start an assembly run or a production run to buy raw components. And any of those purchase orders can then be directly sent from Dia to the supplier. And obviously, once we get the bill, we'll also put that into Dia and account for the cost. Dia also handles landed costs too. So any freight forwarding charges, duties, commissions, clearance fees, taxes, all of that can be also put into Dia and attributed to the purchase order. And that can be done after the fact as well. So once the purchase order is closed, they receive their freight forwarding charges. You can enter that into Dia, assign it to that PO or multiple POs, and then we'll update the cost of goods entries and update the asset account. So now I have some very brief stats here. So hopefully we can kind of go through them, but more or less, what we find that most businesses, and these are businesses, inventory businesses between 1 million and over 5 million turnover, spend a significant amount of time per month managing their inventory. So businesses will tend to spend about anywhere between 14 to 21 hours per month just managing inventory, what they have, they do stock adjustments, what they need to order, and that flows into about 18 to 24 hours of just purely purchase order management, managing shipping, managing what they need to buy, raw components, and so forth, managing sales orders. So this everything includes pick, pack, and ship, returns, credit notes, refunding, that entire process, in between 23 to 29 hours per month. And product sourcing. So what's out there, what's new, what's selling, what's not selling, what do I need to run a campaign behind to source more behind it, whatever it may be. So in between 35 to 24 hours a month. So when you combine that total, that's around 90 hours on average that an inventory business can spend per month managing their backend operations. And this is where Dia comes in. Dia comes in as a backend operations tool. So when we spoke to many inventory businesses, one of their biggest frustrations was broken down to the following. Because of incorrect inventory management, there were 57% had frustrations with lost time and productivity. Lost revenue was 26%. Upset customers, this is because of stock outs, sending out the wrong item, maybe overfulfilling and asking the customer to return, or underfulfilling an order. And then we have others. So there was 4% that was other frustrations that wasn't really inventory related. So these are general frustrations. And we find that most businesses that have these huge amounts of frustrations tend to be running either on legacy software or software that's just inefficient for the complexity of their business, or they're still running on Excel and Google Sheets. So what is digital transformation? So what if a business is having all these frustrations, they're spending all these hours? What is the process to do some digital transformation here? And we like to keep a very simple KISS principle. So most digital transformation processes have to start very simply in asking high-end, what is your major pain points you're trying to solve? And starting there. And how can we work more efficient and smarter? Not only saying how many hours you can reduce, but what are the other benefits? So it might not be a reduction in hours, but having better visibility, having the ability to have more accurate costing, knowing exactly what's selling and what's not selling. Those are huge things that allows you to work more efficient and smarter, which then brings you to other point, which gives you access to be able to scale. So you know where you should be putting your money and your time towards, and what tasks you should be focusing on. So with that being said, you can then utilize different sales channels to grow your wholesale, direct to consumer, even maybe potentially look at other marketplaces. And then from there, you can work out your tech stack. Well, we need Xero, for example, as the financial side of things. Then we need Dia. Then maybe there might be a little CRM tool that could be added on, and you can then work out your tech stack. So the digital transformation process, really, it's less about just looking at an inventory tool and just saying, hey, can we plug this in quickly? But it's about working at the proper tech stack, working at the problems, and seeing how can we fix it and provide a solution to that. So that's the usual general digital transformation process that it gets overlooked, because a lot of business owners tend to come to us and go, hey, we have a problem, I just need this one thing fixed. Well, it's like, well, let's look at the whole picture, because there's so many different moving parts and they all actually talk to each other and they're all actually depending on each other. So it's better to we'll go through this process, look at it from a high level, go down into the detailed operation side of things, and look at everyone that's involved, the procurement manager, the warehouse floor manager, the fulfillment manager, all of these guys, everybody needs to be involved in that process to really be able to formalize the perfect tech stack. And this is, I guess, where we come. So what do we offer to help these issues? Well, one is inventory management. So complete visibility of your stock real time on hand. So we can work out what you exactly have on hand, what's on order, what's already been allocated to existing sales orders that hasn't been fulfilled. And from there, we can work on order management. So from here, we can look at, well, let's look at all your sales channels, physical locations, virtual locations. Let's manage all your orders properly across all, and then you have great visibility, which brings you to multi-warehousing. So whether you run your own multiple warehouses yourself, or whether you have external locations that are run by third parties, such as 3PLs, we can help you get transparency over all your locations and see what stock's moving in what location. From there, we have your fulfillment, so we can manage your pick, pack, and ship. So we have great, amazing integrations into shipping. We do point of sales. We also manage obviously light manufacturing, everything from bottling kitting to full finished goods. But most importantly, we also manage your accounting. So with Dia and how we work with Xero is the fact that, and I might spend a little bit of extra time here, is that all your sales invoices, all your purchasing bills, all your landed cost invoices are all entered into Dia. Then Dia syncs all those invoices over into Xero. We have account mapping at a product level or at a sales channel level. So each sales channel and each payment method can be linked to its own bank account or its own relevant sales channel, even to a product level. So you can have a category of products that have their own revenue account, their own COGS account, and their own inventory account if they want to be able to break it down by those granular level, or they can have the high level. And we also sync payments. So as soon as something is paid in Xero, it's marked as paid in Dia. And also we can handle things like manual journals, cost of goods on first in, first out basis. And also if you amend an invoice in Dia, that amendment will also flow over into Xero. We also manage obviously a variety of different e-commerce channels and marketplaces. Obviously the most popular, Shopify, WooCommerce, Magento, BigCommerce, eBay, and Amazon. We also manage B2B ordering, so wholesale ordering within Dia. And to top it up, we also have an automation module, which I call like notification module, that helps the business really to stop sending text messages and emails, which just allows them to be able to quickly keep everyone in the loop as every operation occurs. So some of the accounting functions specifically to Xero is that we can import the chart of accounts. We have a dual sync for payments and invoices. We have an in-app link to Xero invoices. So within Dia, you can click on an invoice, open it up in Xero. We manage COGS and manual journal entries. And some recent enhancements, automatic syncing, enhanced review screen and errors. So we can have a more detailed error screen. If there's an error, ability to change Xero accounts, export historic data from Xero to Dia with predefined date range and vice versa. So if you're changing your Xero file because the client's been bought out or they've had a change of structure and entity, they can connect their new Xero file to Dia and import a historic order, or from a particular date, importing orders, sales orders, and purchase orders. Further to that, we have a consolidated sync as well. So if you have a particular sales channel that's very high volume and it's hit that soft limit with Xero of 1,000 transactions per month, we can actually consolidate that the sales channel is causing the problem. So it might be the e-commerce channel, and consolidate those orders into a daily consolidation and send that over into Xero as one. So really help your clients just keep staying on Xero without causing any performance issues in Xero, while they can do high transactions in Dia, and Dia can handle up to 50,000 transactions per month. So fair bit of room there for growth and scale. So we did a survey actually recently, and we asked a lot of our businesses that run on Dia, and 53% of our customer base actually wanted to work with a Dia partner. So 53% said, hey, I actually wouldn't mind working with a Dia specific partner who understands accounting, who understands Dia systems, and who can help me kind of manage my bookkeeping with Dia. 14% already have existing partners that they work with on a day-to-day or a week-to-week basis. 30% do not want a partner, or simply don't know about it. So those are just some of the stats that came out, which we thought was really interesting because we actually never asked that question. And so those are really interesting. And so during these times, actually during these pandemics, 69% said that they want to invest more so they can go faster. 14% said, hey, we want to actually slow it down. We're just not sure. We're not really to make that decision yet. And 17% said they want to postpone their costing. So their forecast annual spend on software, advisory, bookkeeping, their budgets are between 25,000 to 50,000 a year. So around their digital softwares, that's what they're willing to spend, and they have already budgeted for. And so, which brings me to another interesting fact, and these are some, mind the British pound, where you can convert them to Aussie dollars, and happy to send you one with the Aussie dollars in there. Most of the UK businesses we looked at, and this was very similar, only about a few percent out in terms of dollar percentages with the Australian and American. So pretty much across the globe, we had the very exact figures, but you can see very clearly that a lot of businesses that were actually on a lot of different, had a good tech stack, they would spend almost double the amount, if not more, on advisors, consulting them, helping them manage these different apps that they have that's running their businesses. So what this proposes is that businesses that tend to not use a tech stack or not many applications, so they might have Xero and they might have Dex, and that's it. But businesses that have a CRM, a cloud-based CRM, a cloud-based inventory application, they have Xero, they have Dex, they have a few other apps, and they have somewhere between 5 to 7 apps really running their business, everything from back-end operations to their front end, tend to spend almost more than twice the amount on advisors. So this stats was very interesting from that perspective. You can also very quickly grow with Dia. So I'm more than happy to jump into more detail with these, but to get started as an advisor of any, and this applies to any kind of different applications and not just Dia, but it's very easy to get started. So, it's simply asking the question, hey, what apps am I currently advising on, and what apps can I add that's complementary to the businesses I work with? And then about that is getting involved with those apps, figuring out what they do, and then seeing, for example, what we do, as you're aware, and how can you work on with these apps to help your clients get on and kind of grow a separate revenue stream based off these apps. And as the stats really kind of demonstrated, that the demand is definitely there and there's a bit of a need for it. And I just want to quickly jump into a bit of a case study as we go through. And I won't go into too much detail, but simply what this client did, they had a few challenges. So they had a bit of an old legacy software. They wanted to they wanted to get more understanding of their customers' buying behaviors and functionality, and they just want to scale their business operation. So they had a key solution for them was that they needed multiple locations. They need to have assemblies because they did a lot of bundling and kitting. They also wanted more accurate figures. So they wanted more accurate costing, more accurate information on their customers, more accurate information on what they need to buy. So with that, we were able to achieve 4 key results with them. And the good thing was we were actually able to work out that we saved them about 4 hours a day or 20 hours per week on their payroll that was being wasted on archaic business inventory management. So they were actually able to spend those hours now with their staff on looking at the bigger picture and trying to achieve some of the goals that they've got on the back burner. A primary refresh ability to focus on company goals, but also their branding, their customer satisfaction ability to be able to quickly get in touch with a customer, find out what their feedback is, and able to be able to implement changes directly because they have the saved hours. And they were able to dramatically streamline live stock on hand. So their biggest issue was stock outs, not knowing how much they have, so they didn't know they could commit or they had to commit to buy. So having that figure really helped them to be able to fully understand their position there. Obviously, I think it took about 6 months for them to get there after implementing the system. So there was a bit of a learning curve because inventory is naturally inherently complex. So it does take a bit of time. So this is a quote from the owner. So without any doubt, Deer has propelled us forward with streamlining much of the production and inventory management process for our business. So this is just a little bit of a testament. I know I fly through a lot of complex topics there. So, and if you guys, anybody wants to get in touch with me, feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to share my details with everyone. So I can get everyone's email addresses and I can just send them out my contact details or a booking link and happy to reach out. So that's all for me. Hopefully I haven't gone too much over time here, and I'll hand it back to Heather. I think we have a bit of a Q&A going to happen soon.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Andrew, for that. That's sensational. I just want to ask everyone who has joined us today, if you have any questions, if you want to take yourself off mute and ask those questions, or if you want to put the question in the comment area and I'll ask the question.
Yeah.
Melinda, okay? Did you have a question there?
I was just wondering, is there a minimum quantities that you recommend for using the DIA system?
As in number of SKUs that the client should have?
Yeah.
Not really. We have one particular client that I can think of that has only 12 SKUs, but they do higher volumes. So it's not so much about number of SKUs because DIA can handle up to 100,000 SKUs from 0 to 100. So it's really about what are the inventory problems they're having, what are the issues, what is their bottlenecks. So if they were looking to grow and scale or reduce hours, what is holding them back, and can an inventory solution help them achieve those goals? So there's no real like a minimum number, so they can have one product or they could have 100,000. So it's really about what is their major pain points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, cool. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Melinda. Michelle, did you have a question there?
I do. Do you work with cloud integrators, and in Australia, which ones?
Sure, we work with a variety, more than a handful, because I think Australia is one of our leading kind of pools of cloud integrators. So we work with everyone from whether it's I think Waypoint, Blue Rock Digital. We work with SMB consultants, and the list kind of goes on from there. And we have a directory as well that's on our website. So more than happy to put in touch with cloud integrators. that if you have any referrals from that space. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you for that question, Michelle. Does anyone else have a question there? Nicole?
I had started to type my question and I realized it makes no sense. You mentioned Receipt Bank. How does so if you're wanting to attach images, how do you attach images? Do you use Receipt Bank still, or?
So we've tried to look at that. Unfortunately, we can't get that integration to happen at the moment. But you can. There are some other apps that can make that happen from a purchasing perspective. But the short answer is you can definitely attach images, documents to a purchase order, and that will get synced over into Xero. For that particular point at the moment, that's not Receipt Bank won't be the one we would use, but for other parts, yes. But there are other applications that work with us that do very similar things.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question. Now, if anyone else has a question, feel free to jump on or put it in the chat area. So Helen Goodman has asked, are you open to bringing on board new cloud integrators?
We are. So we're more than happy to work with new cloud integrators. Our partner network is fully open. And so we have two streams where there is referral partners or implementation partner. So we are happy to entertain those ideas. Absolutely. So it's not a closed off directory at the moment.
Excellent. Thank you for that. And I have another question here from Chris. Does DIA support POS, point of sale, e-commerce and manufacturing in the one system?
That's correct, yeah. So from a point of sale perspective, we have our own POS, but we also integrate with the likes of Vend, Square, Shopify POS as well. So that's all in one place. So e-commerce, we integrate with them, and manufacturing is all done in-house. So it's the way you want to think about it is that DIA is like your central back-end management tool, and everything is kind of, apart from e-commerce, that we don't have an actual one ourselves, so we integrate with Shopify, WooCommerce, and so forth. But all the manufacturing, if you want to use the DIA POS, that's all in-house. The idea is that all your DIA becomes your source of truth for all your inventory-related data. So if you want, but more than happy to go a little bit deeper on that if you want, Chris, at any point later on.
Hopefully that answered your question, Chris, but let us know if it didn't. Now, people have asked for your contact details, and I have just popped them into the chat area, and they will go on the YouTube video, and they have gone on Facebook as well. I do have two sort of big questions for you. The first question is, as many people know, Tradegecko has sunsetted, and if we have clients on Tradegecko, we need to do something with them. From an accountant's and bookkeeper's perspective, what do we need to know about moving a client from Tradegecko to DIA? And the second question is, can you talk through perhaps the differences in the workflows that you're recognizing between Tradegecko and DIA? Now, that might be a harder question, but is there other things that we need to be talking to our clients about, saying, okay, this is not going to work the same way. We need to put in different processes here. Yeah,
absolutely. So very, very good questions. So one, it's with Tradegecko, I think what they've made is that they've made all the data export out of Tradegecko really easy. So a lot of that information can be exported. And everything of that information, once you get it, and as long as it's clean and accurate, you can convert it into a CSV template and upload that into DIA. And our team is there to kind of help and guide through that. So we have a particular offering at the moment, which is a discount on the subscription for the first 3 months, up to 50%. And we do offer assisted onboarding on that as well. So that's also a free offering, which means just basic data conversion, importing that into the system, helping you set up some of the basic integrations. So integration into Xero, and provide 1 or 2 hours of training. But we don't get involved in anything that's too complex, because what we're also finding, and to your second question, is that a lot of people were using Tradegecko in a very particular way or in a very limited way. And then now they're looking at DIA and they're going, oh, I can bring my accounting, or this does landed cost well. I can do batch number and serial number tracking and so forth. Or I was never actually managing my bill of materials in Tradegecko. Now they can. So suddenly it's not about just what you were doing in Tradegecko and doing the same in Dia. It's about pretty much revisiting that entire digital transformation phase again, and looking at all their operations, looking at all the itty-gritty bits and going, well, can we automate this? Can we have that in the system too? Do you need to live on does this information have to live outside of the inventory system in an Excel sheet, or can it live in an inventory system? Can it help with further ordering and where there's multi-currency? So some of the major ones we're seeing is a lot of them had actually stopped their integration to Tradegecko because of to Tradegecko to zero because of the high volumes. So they had stopped that integration, but Dia's consolidated exports will allow you to keep that integration and have that one big invoice go through. Another one that we saw was a lot of bill of materials. So even people who are going, oh no, I just sell finished products, but the thing was they were actually sourcing the bottle and the label and the cap for the product and sending it to a contract manufacturer, and they're buying the liquid from another supplier and sending it to the contract manufacturer. They were putting it together. And that's a bill of materials. They need to manage how much liquid do they have, how much labels do they have left, how many bottle caps do they have left. Sometimes one of these particular companies uses corks, and they take 6 months to come from Europe. So he need to always be on top of how much he was using of his cork so he can order it. And that was something that he just was not managing within Tradegecko. So that was just an example. So it is a hard question to give an exact answer to, but my recommendation would be to revisit that digital transformation stage, to have that consultancy service with them to say, hey, let's go back to the drawing board. Let's put everything onto a bit of a diagram and see where all the data flow is and see whether Dia is suitable or not for that to meet all these requirements.
Thank you for that. It sounds like it's not a mirror copy situation, in that you're actually probably going to be stepping up and have an opportunity to identify more efficiencies there.
Yeah.
Now, does anyone else have any more questions? Do they want to come off mute and ask their question? Do they want to ask it in the chat area? Okay, I have another question for you then. I think that this is a really lucrative area for accountants and bookkeepers to move in if they are interested in apps advisory. If they are interested in apps advisory, what are the steps they should take to learn how Dia works?
Sure. So, signing up for the partner program, whether it's just a referral partner program or if it's the implementation partner program, and everyone can start as a referral and move their way up to implementation. One of the key benefits you get a full-fledged Dia account. So that's a full account that you get that's got all the functions and abilities and access to it. And we have really great YouTube channel, and it's got about 82 odd videos on there now, which covers about 85% of the software in simple examples. So it's pretty good, and we have a really good solution document. So with those two combined, you can do some basic learning from there. But further to that, we do have an online academy. It is a paid academy, but if you're just patient with us, we're actually about to release very soon a partner version or a bookkeeper version, actually. So you get certified just like Xero, and it's going to be heavily discounted. So I would just say hold off on that for just the hot moment until we get that ready for launch. But apart from that, if you also have any questions or just want a small demo, like a 45-minute demo walkthrough of the system, or have very specific questions, I want to see exactly how the manufacturing works, or I just want to see how the e-commerce integrations work or Xero integration works, then more than happy to organize a demo for you guys.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. So you've come on, Melinda. Do you have another question? Yep.
Yeah, I do have another question. I've been finding lately with a lot of software providers that they will sell you the product, but then when it comes to training and implementation, they then will only give you half an hour implementation talk through and then want to charge you for the training afterwards. Fair enough, you said you've got a lot of YouTube and you're about to go online with a university, but do you provide a certain amount of, one-on-one training? How does that work outside of YouTube or the university?
Sure. It's a very good question. It's something that we used to do when we were a lot smaller. Now with almost, we have, I think, also the partners. We have about 48 countries now, partners in 48 countries that have registered. These are just people that have registered and are trying to learn. So unfortunately, because of just scale, we're just not able to provide that. Because we're also getting, internal accountants, internal bookkeepers, digital advisors, and everybody wanting to do it. So I understand it becomes a bottleneck, and unfortunately, we can't provide it. We've tried really hard through the YouTube channel to get as detailed as possible on it, to kind of try to initiate some sort of a self-learn process there. But we still don't have that one-to-one training, unfortunately. And it's been a big pain point we're trying to solve for the last few years. We used to provide about 2 hours of kind of a one-on-one walkthrough of the system. And unfortunately, we had to stop that a couple of years ago because it was just, the scale was just getting so big that it wasn't possible. And we'll go to a particular trade show in the US and we get over 300 or 400 people wanting to do the 2 hours, and we just could not be able to service that.
Yeah.
Sounds like an opportunity for more partners who can offer training potentially.
That's correct. Yeah. So some of our partners have previously worked as even they come into the back end from your end, and they act like a contractor, and they'll kind of work with you to either take you through the first few implementations or provide training. Can be worked with specifically. So if you have a specific requirement, hey, I'm just looking for someone to do 4 hours of training with me, I can definitely have a ask around our partners and see who's kind of open or has the time to do that.
Thank you for that, Andrew. Now, does anyone have any more questions there? Andrew did invite, if you do wish to contact him for more detailed session, that you can contact him directly, and I'll put the details there again, and I'll email them out to everyone as well. And if it was suitable, you may wish to bring it back and do a more advanced session here on the Lunch and Learn with a few more people watching at the same time, if that suited you. So let me know whether that's something, and I'll try and coordinate with Andrew if that's relevant for you. But thank you very much, Andrew, for your presentation today. I think it's been very useful. I think inventory is a really interesting area for people to get into if they are detailed orientated, and it can and as per your data statistics, people are prepared to pay for someone who knows inventory well and can help them set it up and understand it, and can really improve their business. So just once again, how can people get in contact with you?
Sure. I think the details that we're giving out was support@theassistants.com as an email address. So if that, if you just write, I want to speak to Andrew, or just just put in the header like, hey, I was from the Heather Smith Lunch and Learn. They'll escalate that into my calendar, and they'll just put it in there, and I can definitely reach out. So
thank you so much, Andrew.
No worries.